Ujjayi, and welcome to the Wisdom of the Nile show, broadcasting here on www.blessfm1, and my name is Nahibsa Nesibik, alongside
Ujjayi, everyone, Kasati Hekama.
Yeah, and we're here this week representing the Herb Center. We're trying to get out as much information as we can to the general public, especially in times like this. We hope that everyone is feeling well and just riding the waves really like everyone else is out there, really, right? Just try to get to that next day. So first, we want to kind of acknowledge the divine world, like the creators of themselves, the ones who created the existence. We just want to say du'a to the divine world. We also want to acknowledge the world of the dead, the ancestors. They are our bloodlines. They're the ones that carry our destiny lines. They're the ones that negotiate on our behalf to the divine world. So all your wishes and all your desires goes for your ancestors. So remember to keep feeding your ancestors. When you feed them, they'll feed you. So don't forget about them. Don't ever forget about your ancestors. They're the shoulders that we stand upon, really. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here. And we want to kind of acknowledge also the Makaru. The Makaru is a truth teller, and that's Master Naba, Lamusa, Morandenibig. And Master Naba is the founder of the Earth Center, and he had a mission, he had his goal, which was to assist the modern world in their recovery, from the destructive path, right, that our leaders are taking us down. And, when we look around in these times, we can see where they're taking us. And so the teaching from the school, would help to give you the tools that you would need, that you would require, really, to try to help you to navigate yourself through this maze, this, what we call it, a concrete jungle, nothing like the real deal when we go back into Merita and we're back with nature, amongst the trees, amongst nature itself, fitting into the nature. So really, what Master Naba gave us here really was in the school was three different subjects, and one is the Medu. The Medu is humanity's first language, and it's through our language that we'll find our culture, our identity, all the things that we need to know about ourselves really is tied up in our language. If you go back, and for those who are old enough really to remember the movie Roots, if they can remember when Kunti Kinte was beaten to give up his name, his culture, and when he gave that up, he lost everything, and that's what it is. We're carrying these names that doesn't resonate with us really, our culture, our identity, and a lot of us are going around confused because society basically, as they've given us our views and our opinions and our values, and that's what we're acting upon. So that's in the middle class. It gives us, teaches about the philosophy, all the different philosophies that comes into our lives, really. That's what we will learn in the middle class. In the Katibi is where we learn the meditation, yoga. Katibi is where we learn about the existence, all this around us, how everything came into being. We learn the cosmogony. We learn our prayers. We learn the prayers, which the prayers they're actually done in the Medu language, which is what the Greeks call the hieroglyphs. We learn how to do the ablutions, how to clean ourselves before we kind of approach our ancestors. And so in the Katibi class, really, that's what's helping us to connect. It helps us back to ourselves, really. So that's where we learn to honor our ancestors, where we learn to honor the divine world. And that's the Katibi class. So in the Sunt teach you about how to align yourself back to nature. How we, in the tradition, would probably use nature to assist ourselves in curing, in healing ourselves. And so that's the Sunt class is very important, so because with so much pharmaceuticals and all these kind of different kind of medical chemicals really that we've been issued now, especially times like now, people are just given all kinds of things. It's important to know what you're putting into your body, into your structure, so that at least you've got an idea of what you should be expecting from what you're putting in, as opposed to what's being given to you. And whatever you end up with, that's what you end up going away with, basically. So we're just like guinea pigs within the system. We're in the tradition. Most of the herbs and things that they're given to you has been tried and tested. That's what's been passed down over generations and generations. So we're quite safe, because as we learn in the Sunt class that all natural plants and things carries its natural balance. Everything in nature carries its natural balance. Yeah, it's only when man go and tamper with things really that things become out of balance. But nature, as it's is the divine. It's everything is in balance. It's in harmony. So it's just for man really to humble themselves and try to fit into that existence that exists. Now, within the Earth Center, we've got a few other branches, which is the Firefly, and in the Firefly, this is where all the publications is disseminated information, like all the Philosophy Podium, which is the only book written by a Dogon. I mean, all other books you see out there, they're just kind of plagiarization really of what someone else think, what the Dogons are. But the Philosophy Podium was actually written by a true Dogon, really. And that book was written by Master Naba. And so that's one of the things that goes through the Firefly. We also have the Book of Purification. Spoke about cleaning yourself. That book gives you everything that you need to know about cleaning yourself. The prayers are there. It gives you, there's a lot of information in there that's relevant to our lives, our daily lives. So that's quite a good book to have. We also have the Ejpata, more or less every week, or we read a story from the Ejpata. This book is for the young and the old. It's a good story time book to read to your children. They're like parables, and each story you can relate to, in different aspects in your life. It's really a simple book to read, but it's a very powerful book really to have. We also have the 77 Commandments, which was given to us on the day of Tahuti by the Divine. We have the sidereal calendar that actually puts us back in time and space, or give us a sense of where we are in time and space. That's the sidereal calendar. We've got the Firefly editions, which they are articles. Some of them written by Master Naba himself, and a lot of them are written by initiates themselves. And so the information you're getting from these fireflies, really, right, you know, for those who haven't gone through initiation and would like to know a little bit more about, like, say, the subject areas, the kind of things really that are taught within the initiation. The fireflies, they carry a lot of these kind of information in there. So, you know, there's quite a good collection to build up. We've got different editions. Within the firefly, we have like the Bayawali readings. That's done like on a 3 monthly, on a quarterly basis. So if you want to know, you know, what's happening in your life, or you want to know, you get that there. That's just like your horoscope, but you're getting that from a traditional, original Kemetic perspective. So that's the Firefly department. We also have the project in Merita. This is where basically Project in Merita is about developing our culture, just keeping preserving the culture. It's they're building new wells, you know, for fresh water. They're redeveloping temples. At the moment, one of the main programs in the Project of Merita is the program for helping the children. Donation towards helping the children, really, to get like a Western education. Do you want to elaborate a little bit more on that, sir? Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's the project in Merita. Yeah. So we'll just give you a brief.
Sponsor a child from the Dogon villages today. They are the future healers, leaders and preservers of Kemetic traditions. Just like Prophet Nebnaba, these children of the Earth Center and our network of healers are being educated in local schools in addition to their indigenous cultural practices and traditions. This comprehensive education both positions them to inherit the work of their forefathers and mothers and continues bridging the gap between traditional and modern societies. So go ahead, support, find out more about our campaigns and donate by going to www.theearthcenter.org. Thank you.
Well, so we're going to give out some information, public information.
Yes, okay. Hujaye, everyone. So, as the ad just mentioned, the children's educational project. So you can go to the website. I'll repeat that again: www.theearthcenter.org. Center is spelled CENTER. For the UK website, it's www.theearthcenteruk.com. And to contact us at the London Temple, the telephone number 0208 558 3678, and the email is enquiries-uk@theearthcenter.org. For our Coventry Temple, the telephone number is 024 7626 6859, and you can find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, at the Earth Center UK, the Earth Center, and Kepta on Instagram.
Yeah. Okay. And so we'll read out that information later on, really, right? Just in case, really, those who miss it really can kind of get a second chance, really. For now, we're just going to play this selection here by the one and only Dennis Brown. It was his birthday on The first of
Monday.
Do you know what it means to have a revolution? And what it takes to make a solution? Fighting against oppression. Ooh, yeah. Battering down depression. Oh, yeah. Are you ready to stand up and fight the right revolution? Are you ready to stand up and fight it just like soldiers? Many are called, few are chosen. Many are called, few are chosen. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Gotta fight the right fight in this time, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Are you ready to stand up and fight the right revolution? Are you ready to stand up and fight it just like soldiers? Maybe you're called, few are chosen. Maybe you're called, few are chosen. If you wanna live forever, you gotta love each other. Say you gotta live on forever. Yeah. And love one another. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. Gotta fight the right fight in this time. Oh, boy. A man is made according to his word. Oh, yeah. Say we gotta live on forever. Love each other. We gotta live on forever. And love one another.
Okay.
Ushayi, everyone. I think that song says it all. I'll leave it where it stands. But are we really ready for the right revolution?
What do you think we are?
Absolutely. Some more than others. I'm going to read a few extracts from the Philosophy Podium, the book written by Master Naba Lamusa Moradenibig, which can be found on the two websites, www.theearthcenteruk.com and www.theearthcenter.org. And bear in mind that Master Naba was also called
The truth teller.
prophet and the truth teller. which is what Makaru means. So, this world is suffering from the seeds of destruction planted in the human consciousness. And this destructive instinct is so powerful that the individual cannot see that he is destroying himself and the whole world with him. Despite the persistence of those who keep feeding us the idea of the death of the world, those who are building their hopes on the destruction of human values, we, the children of this earth, will not stop reminding ourselves that this world did not come from some place to be here. This world is the result of a fact. It is the image of the world of the gods. As intelligent as we would like to think we are, we must recognize that the most inventive brain does not cross the borders of animalistic instincts without the presence of an agent that acts as an inspiration or stimulus. In the case of humans, gods played this role by opening their world to our attention. Everything human beings have built that is noble was begun by first observing a perfect model of it. That perfect model explains the creation of the world and the stages of the creation of what now exists. Human hyenas and vultures are the only ones that are bringing confusion into this world. All human organizations and institutions are based on the model of the gods. Even governments that nowadays reveal themselves as masters of the art of destruction of values are built on the basis of a model of the gods. The judicial system is copied from what we call the kingdom of the dead, which has the merciful God Wasir as its only sovereign, the God that dies every year to judge the dead and is reborn to redeem the living. The truth is that we, the people of this earth, have not yet understood why the development of this world is taking a course that is completely opposite to the course that we had taken for more than 130,000 years. We people of this earth are not able to understand why the wielders of powers have suddenly decided that we no longer need the model we choose. A human being is human only because he or she has a world that is sacred, a world that he or she protects from neophytes, not because this world would hurt anyone that corrupts it, but because the whole of what is in existence depends on the incorruptibility of the model upon which we are looking. And I'll leave that there. And I'm not sure if Nahibs has said today what the topic of today's show is, but it's instinct, intuition, and clairvoyance.
And Master Nava sure had a lot of instinct.
And a lot of clairvoyance.
Yeah, the insight really, like
Prophet Naba.
Yeah, Prophet Naba, yeah. And really, I had an experience today. I went to the airport, and on my way back to the car park, which is this is in the open space, you know, fresh air, a lot of fresh air. It was actually raining. And going back to where you paid for the ticket, there was a couple of people queuing up there or waiting to get their ticket. And what happened there was an elder turned around to me and basically instructed me to put my mask on. And it's people like me who is the blame for COVID spreading. And so we can see out there really how the conditioning really like of people's mind, and instinctively how people behave to the conditioning as human beings, within all the domains of every living entity on this planet, really, we are governed by our instinct. Yeah, and it's that natural kind of reaction that we have for survival. It's like if something is coming towards your eyes, your natural reaction, your natural instinct is to close it to protect yourself. So we've got this inbuilt mechanism there. It's the form of intelligence, really, that we use, that kind of assist us and navigate us through life. But we can see how, as well, that how it could be manipulated by those really right who is putting out the propaganda out there. So that was ironic, really, so that we can see how our people behave according to the conditioning that they're kind of that they're exposed to.
So
No.
basically, their natural instincts has been recreated by the governments and propaganda machines.
Definitely, and we can see. I mean, they know that would you say that instinct is one of our senses, or is it?
It's an absolute one of our senses, one of our intelligence.
It's one of our intelligence.
Every living organism has
Its own
natural
intelligence
inherent instinct. Yes.
to survive.
To survive and protect itself.
And to protect itself, then, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, but we see how, like, the eyes, all the different senses that we have, also function on that instinctive basis, though, isn't it? To naturally protect itself. If it's too loud, your natural reaction is to cover your ears, isn't
Yeah.
it? You know.
Mm-hmm.
So we can see that even from a baby is born with his natural survival instinct that you don't really have to teach it, really, do you?
No.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
But we also see that there are actually like learnt behaviours then, because from a baby you also help it to assist it to develop its instinct as well, don't you, as a mother?
Yes, that's correct. That is correct, yeah.
So then we can see how we could be easily influenced then, really, to behave what we might think is in a natural way, but it's like going to work.
And our behaviour is manipulated to suit whoever is manipulating that. So we're seeing people nowadays in the UK, you're seeing people actually walk out into the main road in traffic to avoid somebody walking along the pavement. So to because they've been brainwashed to believe there has to be that 2 meter distance.
Yeah.
So they're actually putting themselves at risk by stepping out into the traffic to avoid a person who's walking along the road beside them.
So that instinctive behaviour that they have is not a rational one, because they're trying to avoid COVID, but they're not avoiding the car, which is probably going to be a more instant death for them.
Exactly. Exactly.
So you can see where the rationale in people's mind and how.
Well, there is no rationale.
Well, there ain't really,
no,
but then what they believe, what they're actually doing.
Yes, yeah.
Which, as we said, like your natural instinct behavior is to protect yourself. Mm-hmm. But in them doing that, do you think that was a protective mechanism or move that they made when they did that?
No.
Stepping out into the road?
Non-thinking. It's non-thinking. They've been instinctively designed now to keep 2 meter distance between them and another human.
Mm.
So
that is a new
propaganda machine. Yeah, the propaganda machine is working very, very well.
So we can see how detrimental then, really, how society know how to play us then, really, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the greatest human experiment ever carried out on humanity, and it seems to be working very, very well.
On some.
Yes, but the majority is working very well.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we can also see, though, really, like coming through initiation and being exposed to some of this knowledge, how it can help assist you to kind of to be discerning about certain things that we see out there, really, right, and just put it in its logical perspective to evaluate for ourselves, isn't it?
Yeah, that is correct. However, we all have intuition, and I believe if people intuitively recognize what's going on, they will admit that something untoward is actually happening. So if they listened to that voice within and the common sense, they will know that something untoward is happening.
Because I mean, even the plants, even in the plant kingdom, really, we can see where a plant survives on its instinct. Its natural instinct really is to push out root, to find water, to find nutrient, really, to feed itself. So there are natural living behaviors that governs all of us on this planet. Another part of it, a part of its learned behavior there is where it actually push towards the sun as well. What they call it? Photosynthesis?
Photosynthesis.
Yeah, so in that really, right, it's also trying to get food as well to
Yeah.
So
Well, it creates food by the sun.
And the carbon dioxide
Process
that
of
you
the
kind of that you actually use to mix. So that's a natural. Would you say that's a learned behavior, or is that
For the plants? No, it's inbuilt. It's instinctive.
that would be instinctive as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as I said, really, we can see where society basically, right, as reprogram. I mean, there is this eugenic kind of reprogramming agenda that they're on. And in these last few weeks, what I've been hearing, this term that's been used is the Great Reset. And I just can't resist that one, yeah. But what we can see, really, that they are resetting people's kind of their views, their reaction. What would have been natural becomes, it's a learnt behavior now, but it's become like instinctive to a lot of us now, that they believe that it's a normal reaction or normal behavior that they're performing, but it's not really.
Yeah. So I mean, coming away from that, last week's topic was how to find your compass in chaos. So if people are not looking for that compass within, then their mind will be very chaotic with all the confusion and bombardment from the media in relation to this world crisis, this pandemic. So how do we tap into that which serves us, which is our inherited intuition, our instincts to know that something is wrong, and to move away from it, really.
But first, really, people's got to have that awareness, though, really, of the fact that they have been manipulated. Because if they don't know, right, and they believe it's just a natural thing that's going on, their behavior, then how could you change something that you're not conscious of, really?
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. Intuitively, I believe they do know, but the brainwashing machine has been so good, it's taken them away from actually trusting their own intuition. Yeah.
So is that override button being used by society then?
That's correct.
So this is where the constant bombarding of like information overload, really. That's what's causing, that's got a big part to play in it, really, isn't it?
And then they do not go outside of that to seek information elsewhere. So this is the problem. If you mention any information elsewhere than what the media's pushing, they use that word conspiracy theory, and their brain just shuts down.
Shut down. I mean, it was just like this elder that at the airport, as I said, really, when I looked in his face, and I'm thinking, this man is so serious. I mean, he was wearing his mask. Everybody more or less was wearing their mask, plus the fact that we were outside. But his behavior, and I just had to stand back and look at him, and I'm thinking, wow, does he consciously realize what he's actually saying and doing? A year ago, would he be speaking that way? When we look at, like, say, a year ago, according to how the Muslims, how they were treated for wearing their face coverings and things, and now it becomes norm for people to be walking around now suffocating themselves, and
breathing in their own toxicity.
And it becomes the norm. And so we're gonna go more and look at more about what instinct, intuition, and clairvoyance, and we're gonna bring in our guest speaker, uh, Atani
Bouabti
Bouabti
Fahkara.
Fahkara, and he's from the first generation, and he's going to take you through a little bit more in depth, really, in those areas. We're looking at those points really just to see where we are and where we should be heading towards, and just trying to make the connections, you know. So we just to bring you in, we're going to give you this Bob Marley selection.
Bless my eyes this morning. The sun is on the rise once again. We heard the things are going. Anything can happen. You see, men sailing on their ego trip. Blast off on their spaceship. Million miles from reality. No care for you, no care for me. So much trouble in the world. So much trouble in the world. Oh, you got it. Give a little, take a little, give a little, one more time. Yeah, 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 yeah. So you think you found that solution? Oh, sister, I'm a solution. So before you check out this time, don't leave another cornerstone standing there behind. Yeah, we've got to face the day. Ooh, we come one way. We the street people talking. Yeah, we the people talking. Now they're sitting on the time bomb. Now I know the time has come. What goes on up is coming on down. Goes around and comes around. So much trouble in the world. So much trouble in the world. So much trouble in the world. There is so much trouble. 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 There is so much trouble in the world. There is so much in the world.
Ujjayi, and welcome back to the Wisdom of the Nile show. We've got our guest speaker on the line, and as I said, he's our Hatani. He's from the first generation, the Fahkara generations, and Ujjayi Sen, Hatani, could you hear us?
Ujjayi.
Ujjayi Atene.
Could you just say a few words so that we can just hear if you're coming through clear on the mic?
Ujai,
Oh,
you hear me?
yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
loud and clear.
that's good.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, as we say, this week's topic really is dealing with like instinct,
Mm.
intuition, and clairvoyance.
Okay.
And we just want to know, just what your perspective, what's your take really like on instinct and how important really, or what part does it play in our lives?
Sorry, Hattani, before you go on with that, still, we were just discussing the fact that instinct is an inherent aptitude within people, and we've noticed that during this COVID time, people are actually their instinct is now being manipulated by
Mhm.
the propaganda machine, and
Mhm.
there's no thinking anymore. So what I was saying is, why aren't people tapping into their intuition, knowing and feeling that something is actually wrong, but their majority is going ahead with the narrative being pushed
Mm.
out by the propaganda machine.
Okay.
So,
So, so
yeah.
when we look and see what is going on, then we have to realize that it is not just we didn't get here where we are today just like that. It started quite a long time, and we have discussed this in many versions, many forms, many ways about how society, the erosion of society, the erosion of free thinking, the erosion of values, of principle, the erosions of trying to be in harmony. If you have a system that push one agenda, but they themselves don't even believe in the agenda that they are pushing, then that is where we are, and that's why we find ourselves in this position. So, um, you know, one of the worst thing about being a human being, um, and you're not able to use your thoughts, you're not able to use your imagination freely, you're not able to connect to the things that you need to connect to. We are living in a superficial, artificial life that is taking us away further and further away from who we are and what we are supposed to be. And because of that, that is why people they are so in a way we are being managed every aspects of our life,
Mm-hmm.
everything that we think, and we have this idea about freedom that we are free and we're liberated, but that is so far from the truth. Is that now we realize with this modern system, with what's going on right now, that we can't even leave our house properly without we are being monitored, without somebody want to know every movement that you do. If you're on the phone, if you're whatever you do, you are monitored. You've been monitored by the appliance that you bring into your house.
Yeah.
You've been monitored by your friends because they breed fear into them, and everybody is turned on everybody. And one of the things the system has said, you should grass your friends up.
Yes.
So so if somebody is doing something, even if it might not be that bad, then it's your duty according to the society to grass them up. Tell everybody what they're doing,
Yeah.
so that they keep on monitoring you. So every movement, everything you do. So it is hard for a human being because it has been going this way for a long time that we are moving further and further away from the true concept of what reality is. We are continually moving backward in a way. So I continually use this the paradigm that I continually use is that we are getting more educated, but we are just being what we call educated fools
Yeah.
because we are no different than the parrot. We are not different from any other animal that man has trained to do whatever they say they want to do. And if we look at just the reality about religion, what they have managed to do with us, and we as African people is now the strongest voice, and Africa is the fastest growing place in the world where religion, both Islam and Christianity, is growing at such a rapid rate. In the European system, the European society, they don't even mention it. The churches are closing. They don't accept what religion is teaching them now. The only time they might do that is when there is a little bit of fear in them. But so that's why we are where we are today. But the fact of the matter is that we as individuals, as human beings, have let ourselves down. We have let our ancestors down. We have let the goal. We have let ourselves down because of one of the things that make us let ourselves down is because we are looking at the material value of things too much. And that is how the system hooks us in more and more, because we consistently think that we need to be rich, we need to be educated, we need to do all these things that we think we are going to get the maximum benefit out of the society. The society is going to get the maximum benefit out of us. And it's almost, if you look at it, it's like when a child goes to a new school and the child is trying to be friendly with everybody and they don't want to know that child. So that's where bullying and all of these things come into being. So that is the way we find ourselves. Now, there's a simplistic way that we can look at it. And that's one of the good things about the Earth Center, about the knowledge, the teaching that we have been given. The initiation is very important for all human beings. But in reality, we know that many people might start, but very few will ever finish.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's going to bring you face to face with your own reality. It's going to bring conflict into you. And, we are battling with the two things that we are battling with. We are battling with what we know instinctively, what we feel instinctively, what our ancestors keep on projecting on us, and what the system and everything is in front of us. So we see so many things, and we see people, and that's why we have things like idols, where people worship people, where people want to be like the Joneses all the time. And it's all about materialism. And it's all about the symbolic nature of what captivates a human mind and changing from the simplicity and being in harmony with everything around him. Now, for my case, for myself, it's different, because it's one thing I know. From I was about, I would say about 8 or 9, my grandmother, who brought me up, said, "I don't want you to do with nothing to do with religion. I don't want you to go to no church. I want you to stick with your ancestors, stick with the tradition that we know." And so, being in tradition, it brings a certain type of reality, and in a way, it takes you away from the real world, what they call the modern world, which I can't say is the real world. So that takes you into a situation where you're able to look into life in a different way and realize that in life there is death. And in death, you rise and you come back again. So your journey is just continuing. That is a continuation. There's no life without death, and there's no death without life. And therefore, where I come from, we bury all our ancestors right in the front of the house or the back of the house. And therefore, we understand the difference between the material world, the physical world, and so we understand that there is, when your ancestor, even though they might pass away, and everybody always talk about things like dreams, my grandmother, my father, my brother, my sister, whoever is in the world of the dead, come back and give me dream all the time. And some of these dreams are so graphic and truthful. And when they tell you certain things, and you see it come to pass, then you have no choice but to realize that, even though, according to the modern religious system, is that when you're dead. And therefore, is only mischievous, negative spirit that is walking the earth plane can give you an understanding or message of what is going on. But that is also a lie. But we know, and I know, for example, that my ancestors has been active all the time in my life from I was 7 years old. And I had the first idea about what is of the non-physical, and what they have said to me from that time is still true today, and it still continue to be true. So you cannot live a life and give justice to yourself without understanding that there is another side to life. Life is not just about the physical. Life is not just waking up and go to school and grow up and getting educated or not and getting a good job or not. But there is a harmony, there's a balance between you and everything that exists. You have to understand that as a human being, we have the ability to communicate with all the things that is created by the divine. We have the ability to see, sense, feel, and understand things that most people don't understand. And if you are fortunate enough to live in a very rural part of anywhere in the world, then in a way it's almost like life is going slower for you more than when you live in a city. Because we are bombarded with electric light, electricity, we are bombarded with noise, and all sorts of things that we are bombarded with in the city. When you are in a rural setting, you have to constantly go inwardly and feel and realize and know the things that is happening around you. So, we have to just understand that we have the ability to communicate with our ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
We have the ability for our ancestors to communicate with us. We have the ability to communicate with one another, even when we are alive.
Mm-hmm.
And I can show you a simple example, like sometimes brother and a sister, a friend and a friend, and you just feel that you need to call a person, or that person need to call you, and you call them, and they said, I was just thinking about you, I was just going to call you.
Mm-hmm.
So, that is a connection that we don't think about.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, even in relationship, you find a wife might be home and she say, I'm going to cook today. And she just decide, I'm just going to cook that. And that day, her husband, her man, or whoever is at work and say, something, this is what I feel to eat today. We also don't understand that also sometimes what we eat is what our ancestors want us to eat, or what they want to see that we are partaking in such a food or such a thing. So there's a whole lot of things going on without we realizing. If we are blind, we can't see nothing. And I'm not talking about physically blind. I'm talking about spiritually blind. If you're blind, then everything in life will pass you by.
Okay, Hatsani, can I just stop you there, please? How do you suggest to people to take off those blinkers that's blinding them and to tap into seeing what they need to see and hear what they need to hear from the ancestral realm?
Now, again, it depends on, again, your outlook in life. It also depends on how your ancestors feel or the journey that they set you on, the path.
Mm-hmm.
If they set you on a path, and when we talk about connection with your ancestors, some people from the day they're born, they're connected to their ancestors till the day they die.
Mm-hmm.
It never changes.
Mm-hmm.
So they always have the ability to communicate and connect with their ancestor. Some people, they have that ability till they're about 7 or 8 years, and then they lose it. Some people, it really a surge when they're in their teens, and it might go on until they are in their 20s, and then it might go again, as well as it might continue. And it's again depending on what you're doing. Now, the sad thing is how people come into their own spirituality is through sadness, because if someone die in a way that bring a lot of pain or sorrow to your system, to your spirit, then you keep on asking yourself why, how, and sometimes the way you're doing it, the pain, it hurts so much because you miss a person. That person was your rock. And because of that, that person will feel that they need to reach out to you and show you that, all is not lost. We still can communicate. We still can be in harmony with one another. And that is one of the things when someone dies around people. One of the questions a lot of people seems to ask all the time is my ancestors that is dead or my relatives that is dead, are they all right? Do they know what is going on with me now? And sometimes the answer is yes. Of course they know what is going on. And yes, they are all right, or no, they're not all right. So, these are the sort of things that make you start thinking and looking within. And so you have to realize somewhere in your life that life is not going the way it should go for you. And you need to adapt and change. You need to stop, get off of the rat race. And you need to start embracing the simplicity of life where we talk about harmony and balance of how things are and how things exist. And what I can do as an individual to connect myself to the elements, to the trees, to the earth, to all that exists. Now, some people will do it, some people will never do it. Some people have to do it because that is how. So you find, and this is something that happens a lot with people, is that people go through a phase where they're getting so many dreams every night that it become like a torment in a way. Some good, some bad, and then they realize, this is ridiculous, or the dreams is taking over my life. I need to find out how or what I should do to make this either stop or to see what is really going on. Mm-hmm. And so when you start looking in that way, then you realize you have to slow your whole self down. You have to get yourself in a sort of meditative state where you can assess with your heart and your mind and relax and stop continue thinking that you can change things around you in the way in which you are going. The only way you can start change things is by going inwardly and learning how to get away from the rush, the hastiness of life, and by just trying to fit in instead of trying to bulldoze your way through life, which you really can't, but a lot of people think they can. So it is about simple take step, you know. And it's sometimes you might hear voices. You might hear your father, your mother, your grandfather, whoever is in spirit call you. And this calling can be consistent. Now, sometimes this can be a negative thing as well as be a positive thing. Because sometimes the voice that you might hear might not be the spirit that you think it is. Is another spirit who's trying to project on you something that they are not. And sometimes it could be the spirit. So, in a simplest way, when someone that is close to you die, and you know, you have to continue. Talk to them like when they are alive. Try and still know that they are part of your existence, of your world.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way you're going to start find. Sooner or later, they will start talking back to you. Sometimes we have the reality of seen but not seen. So if you're in your house, you have a glimpse like a shadow or something move, you might feel certain things. You might feel even the hair in your body stand up.
Mm-hmm.
You might feel your head raised, as we call it in Jamaica, where you feel like your head is elongated and very big.
Mm-hmm.
And straight away you know, say, there is something that is not physical around you.
Mm-hmm.
And there is where sometimes fear comes into the whole thing, where people become very frightened, very afraid, and start, people run out of the house and all these things because they feel these sensations. So one of the things that you need to do is just think about how can I get to know or understand or realize, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What is going on in my house, what is going on in my life. If I continue seeing shadow, I feel like somebody's behind me, somebody's watching me, somebody's walking with me, I'm hearing voices, somebody's talking to me. All these things just make you need to investigate.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to find somebody who understands what you're going through and how they can help you to rise above these things. So that is where you start from, I would say.
Mm.
Okay, sorry, Hipsa. So, how can people be discerning about the messages that they're receiving? How do they might know that it's an ancestor, or it could just be brain chatter?
That is one of the complexity of spirituality and spiritual development. Because everybody is have the idea that something is going on, but they feel, it's only my mind that is going, it's my thinking, my thoughts. But that is how you have to understand. When you start getting things in a clear way, then you can see the path that you're going. Another way that we tell people always is to make sure when you get dreams, write them down.
Mm-hmm.
Write down the time, the date, the month, the year. And in the process of about 2 years to 3 years, you will start understand everything about your own dreams and what they really mean and how you can interpret your own dream. Because no matter if someone is the best dream interpreter, a lot of your dreams are really cryptic.
Mm-hmm.
And is like they give you a puzzle. And that's why even some people read people is in a cryptic way, by their ancestors or whoever, give them messages in a cryptic way. And it's only when you learn them. For example, and it's a simple thing that we have in the Caribbean. It might be even other places in the world as well. That if you continue, and you hear almost every family say that, especially the older people, I'm dreaming about fish.
Mm-hmm. I know what that one is.
And they go say straight away, somebody in the family is pregnant.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Right? And then they know, after a while, they hear that somebody pregnant. No, this is not just one occurrence. This is every occurrence.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
So every time somebody is pregnant in the family, a member of the family get a specific dream.
About
Anytime certain other things going on in the family, your family gets specific dream, highlighting and showing you and telling you what is going on. You understand? So, another thing people say about dream, if you get, this is from the Caribbean point of view, not from the Kemetic point of view, because I'm not sure about the Kemetic point of view, but I know from the Caribbean point of view, if you continually dream that a bad dog is chasing you down, a black dog is chasing you down, normally is negative energy that is something that is not good, that is happening around you. So we have a whole lot of symbolic things that happen that you have to work out, that what does that mean specifically to me, because it might mean something else to somebody else. You understand?
Yeah.
So that is how the simplicity of things is. But one of the greatest things that a human being can do, and when the Earth Center talked about the greatest thing that mankind has ever do was to be connected to the world of the gods. It's very important when you look in yourself, because what they're really talking about is not connecting to the God in a physical way that we are talking about, but more in the spiritual way of connecting with the energy of what we call the creative force or the neteru. And by connecting to those forces in that way, then we that's how we grow. Because everything that a human being know have to come from the divine, or the ancestors, or nature. So nature can expose itself to you, your ancestor can expose themselves to you, the divine can expose themselves to you. And not every human being, but some human beings still have the ability to connect with the divine energy of things. So it depends on where you're coming from or where you need to go in life. That is how your connection is. Depends on what your ancestor, what you did in previous existence, and what you need to do in your unfoldment. And that's how the connection is. So some people, their family, their bloodline has always been connected to the divine, and still will connected to the divine. Other people have to work harder, because sometimes we get so mixed up in the confusion of life, so we don't have the harmony of how and what we should do, how we can grow, and we don't understand about growth. No matter how we grow physically, if we are not growing spiritually, then life is almost useless or needless. We have to understand that every human being has the ability to know something about what we might call the non-physical part of life. Every human being can perceive certain things, and there are different levels of perception. So the more you're connected to the earth, the more you're connected to your ancestors, The more you're connected to the divine energy in all things, the more you can feel and sense better. So a lot of people have this fantasy in life about divination and what method and how they should connect with the divine. In a way, people are very not knowledgeable because, as I said before, you only need to practice yourself, understand yourself, and you understand you can connect through many methods of divination. So you can connect through rocks, stones, cowrie shell, trees, water, light, which we're talking about, like candlelight. And there is at least, I would say, at least over 600 ways that we count, that we know that you can divine and communicate with your ancestors and the divine. And so that is just one way of communication. Then people get confused between the difference between clairvoyance and clairaudience. So clairaudience, from a Western point of view, is where you hear things. And then clairvoyance is just where you see things. So a lot of people feel that they're hearing things and they're seeing things. That might make them very good. But not necessarily. Because the greatest tool of all is not clairvoyance or clairaudience, but is the ability to sense and feel. That is the greatest gift that you can have in terms of spiritual development. And the reason why it is so good is because we talk about gut feeling. And when you're able to feel, you can feel to the point of view where you can, somebody is in front of you and you can mirror them, and everything that is happening in their physical body, you can feel it, you can see it, you can know it. You can see in every organ of the human body. You can see in the tissue of the human body. You can see under the skin of the human body. And you can be able to see and understand where their affliction is, what is going on with them. You can sense it. And when you sense it, because you feel it, it becomes so real to you that is something that is one of the greatest thing that one of the greatest, some people call it gifts or spiritual ability that you might have. And it's superior to every other thing. So when you see, you can only see so far. And you can only see, mostly, it depends on your level of how you are able to manifest in different dimensions and see things in a different way, where you can see things in mostly three-dimensional, because you're still blinkered by how you feel and what you think. But if you have the full ray of vision and the full understanding about everything, and you can have clairvoyance, clairaudience, ability to sense and feel in terms of light, color, all the things you can have manifest in you at the same time. Then you are able to do great things and see great things and understand great things about life, about your ancestors. You can stay in your home and see what is going on in any part of the world. You can hear, you can feel, you can see, all of the things happening at the same time. It doesn't take a long time to do it. It's a very, very quick thing. So it's about dedication to get to that level, dedication and it takes a long time. It's not something that happens overnight to some people. And in the West, they have this idea that basically, and it's true to a certain extent, that some of these abilities, you have to really bond with them. You come here in this lifetime to manifest these things. So that is why you're able to do it. And so they have this concept in the West where they talk about being psychic and being mediumistic and spiritual. Now, being psychic carry the connotation that from the time you were born, you're connected to the universe. You're connected to everything that is seen and unseen. And you can manifest these in your life from an early age, where you get communication with your ancestor, communication with all kind of entities and spirit and whatever. So that is what you call a true psychic. A person who developed to be a mediumistic quality, most of the time, have to go through some intermediate, some teacher, some guru or something like that, where they can get further training and teaching. And that person has to be somebody who is equipped, who have the knowledge, who have passed that way before, who their ancestors have passed that way, the teachers have been teachers, and that's all that way. But a true psychic, in the sense, is somebody from the day they were born, they've been guided by spirit. So they, we see it sometimes with young children, even from the very, very young age, they can tell you things that you will be very shocked, and you can't understand how they know these things. You understand? So that is the main difference between what we're talking about. Anything you want to ask, I say.
Yeah. So, okay. I understand what you're saying about clairvoyance, and it's something that not everybody's going to actually have that gift, so to speak. But some people may have it and lose it, and some may have it and need a
Not
master.
using it.
Yes, and may need a master to help them hone in on it.
Mm-hmm.
What is the difference between that and intuition?
Intuition is just mean feeling, really. The same thing is intuition is just where you felt something, you feel like something is going to happen. But intuition is only a small part of it, really. That's what I'm saying, is intuition. Everybody got some form of intuition.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes what you have to be careful about intuition is that intuition sometimes can be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And therefore, intuition can be bound up in many things that is going on. Intuition can be bound up in your ability to perceive, your perception. Intuition can be bound up in your emotion, what is going on. Because when we get too emotional, it trigger different chemical in the body. So the body start behave and function in a different way. Intuition can also be something that you feel that you want to happen, and it manifests in a way to you. So you have to be careful about just intuition. You understand? Intuition can be associated with what they might call animalistic memory.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to differentiation. The important thing is that you have to understand is that in your ability to perceive, whether your perception is based on what your ancestor, what the divine, what the energies around you want you to know manifest.
Mm-hmm.
That is the important thing. Is that because remember there is such thing that we can call that is negative intuition also too.
Yeah.
and you find people who suffer from mental illness and all of that. Sometimes one of the things that they will always say, they hear voices, and this voice is manifesting in them and telling them to either hurt themselves or hurt somebody else. You understand? So that is the intuition, you see. So you have to be careful and understand, and that is why it's important sometimes to have a master who can determine or show you where and what you should do or what you shouldn't do. Because life is nothing is set in stone. It's about energies. And energy are something that is fluctuating and changing all the time. And we as human beings have to adapt and change and understand the manifestation of everything around us, the things around us that is important for us to understand.
Okay.
Does that make?
Yeah, it does. It does, and I have to meditate on some of these things that you said. But okay, in regards to connecting with the divine world and the ancestral realm, how can people strengthen that connection?
Well, there are seem to have a good way of ancestor holy day where you have chanting and lamentation to the divine. But that is should only be a small part of your that one day is only one day. You still need to work in yourself every day, every hour, every minute that you exist.
So how would one do that?
By practice, your Zemzem every day, your connection, trying to be in harmony with things around you. And when the time is right, the energy will right, and the energy will manifest in a way to you that, in a way, a human being can only teach you so far. That's what you always have to remember. No matter how good the teaching is, as a human being can only teach you so far. The teaching can only come from the spiritual, from your ancestors, from the divine. True teaching can only come from the ancestors, from the celestial body, from the earth, because all of these things have a way of communicating with you. So what we need to be in making sure we understand is that, one, we need to understand about ourselves, first of all, who we are and what we are about. We need to understand the elements that control you as in this existence, in this time and space now. Once you can understand these energies that is manifesting in you the strongest, and learning how to use that. So if you say the energy of water is manifesting in you, and people just said, you're a water person. How does that manifest in your life? In a simplistic term, it might just mean that I always know that I have a connection to the water, to the waters, to the rivers, to the sea. And how I know, from I was very young, one of the first things that start happening to me is that when I'm about at least about a mile from the sea, I would start hearing in my head, "Welcome home." So long before I even see the sea, I consistently get "Welcome home," and then I know that this is where. And there's a feeling that when you get to the sea, or when I get to the sea, I realize this is something that is very beautiful for me. Yet still, I always feel I don't want to live too near to the sea. I always have the respect for the sea, knowing the strength of the sea. And it's a folly to go and live right on top of the sea, and thinking that you can build a nice, strong house, and that is going to change the sea, that is going to change the earth, that's going to change the wind. What is it going to do? Whatever it needs to do, whenever it needs to do. So we as human beings have to understand that we have to know how to live our life so that things can manifest for us. So, understanding who you are as a person. You might find you're a person who likes being in the forest. I also love being in the forest, out in nature. And therefore, I try and spend as much time out in nature. And it's only when you are really connected with nature that you are really connected with the divine.
Mm-hmm.
And because of your connection with nature, your love for plants, for trees, your love for the fresh air, your love for the water, the harmony, the joy it brings to your spirit. And that is how you're growing. Because you can only get this energy, this joy, this beauty within, this excitement, when you are in those elements that is very, very soothing, uplifting to you. Now, for other people who are more on the material world, if they're going and they're not going in a 5-star hotel with everything, all the trimmings and all of that, that is not good for them. You understand? So it's understanding that life and nature, in order for you to really be a part of and grow spiritually, you have to be in nature, in truth.
Yeah, I totally understand and agree with that, and I think that the systems at the moment also know that, and this is one of the main reasons I believe why they've have people locked down in their homes to disconnect us from nature, and
But
therefore disempower us.
Even though I love nature and I love being in nature and understand also too, but we as human beings have the ability to sit in a house and transform yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and be all the place where they say you can't go, you can still go. Cause you can travel just sitting in your house. One of the first things I start doing when I start doing probably about 30 years ago. I remember there's a place in Jamaica that I used to really love. We call it cool grass because there's some really nice grass like what you see in America where the lions are. And I used to go there and sit. And when I start meditating, I used to take myself back there every night,
Mm-hmm.
and I just enjoy being there.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what you have to do to compensate if you can't do what you can do. So you can make things just stay in the place you are manifesting thousands of miles away. So
Yeah, turn off the TV though.
the more you allow the system to dictate your life, and you just stay there and accept it. And if you are just trying to be more part of the system, even though a lot of people are saying, oh, they're changing and they want the evolution, they want to be free. In reality, they don't really want to, because the system has so many trappings that every human being is very few that can fight that temptation to live the life of pure pleasure and fun. But we know all of those things come with a price. And sooner or later, we will pay the price for those things. And we will live and we will die and we will not achieve the goal that our ancestors sent us to do. We will not do the things that we were supposed to do. So in reality, we are failing ourselves. Just as you remember the class we have, that your food, what you love, will kill you.
Yeah.
You understand? So it's the same thing in life, is that our passion, our emotion, our desire, all of these things are the things that change us and stopping us from manifesting Because as human beings, we get so attached to things. And we don't realize that everything that comes in your life is not permanent. There's nothing that is permanent. Your parents bring you into this world, and then sooner or later you get big and you have to leave their home and start creating your own family. You create your family, and then they become big and they leave you, and they go. Your relationship might break up. You might have to move from one country to another country. Or you might get to a point where you are healed. You can't do the things that you used to do. All of these things are there in the human, for us as a human being. So we have to understand that we have to learn the only way we can get some solace is when we are connected fully to our ancestors, to nature, to all that exists, all entities, to the divine, and that's only where we're going to get some solace. That's where true joy comes from. True joy does not come from the life, the emotive lives that we live. Emotion is good, because emotion, in a way, can be something that can be a driving factor in us. But what is the goal? What is the aim? What is the intention in the long run? When we are driven by emotion and we are blind from the reality and the senses of simplicity and balance and harmony, when we don't cherish anything that is decent and simple and good, and we're always looking for something, and that, as a human being, that is what we are always good at. Whatever we're given, we don't want it. We want something else. Whatever we should believe in, we don't believe in it. Whatever we need, we always think we need something else. We are very contrary as human beings. We never accept that which is there in front of us. We can see the way we've been brought up as children is that no matter how good your parents brought you up, there's going to be a time when you're going to rebel. And if you tell me that there is a child that never rebelled at their parents, then that person is a saint. And born on this earth to be a saint.
So to develop your ability, right, to have this clairvoyance perception, how much meditation do you need to be doing really to help to?
Well, I said the first thing about trying to develop is to try and understand yourself, and you have to start looking at life in a reverse way. You have to think, what am I living for? What do I exist for? The life I'm living now, is it worthwhile? Is it meaningful to me? If you feel that it's worthwhile and it's meaningful to you and all of that, then I would say to you, forget about developing, because you're not going to develop that way. Because if you feel that things is all right now, why change? And that's what most human beings don't. But if you feel that the whole world is antagonistic to you and your nature, and you are not growing, you can't feel growth, your spirit is not comfortable, contented. Like many African people in this country, Afro-Caribbean people in this country, is not happy, not contented about being here. And they are in a bewilderment state and thinking, what should I do? And every time they think about this question within themselves, the answer come back. I don't have enough money. I don't have this. I don't have that. And all of those things are just obstacles that we are putting in front of us. So we are the one who sometimes is putting obstacle in stopping us from unfolding. If we don't put obstacle in our way and we said, you know something, I don't like what is going on with me in this country or whatever, I'm going to have to do something about it. And it's the same thing that you have to think about in your spiritual journey. I am not comfortable. I'm not happy. I feel disenfranchised. I feel that I haven't got the harmony. There is no peace in my spirit. There is no peace in any part of my being. I can't rest properly. I know something is missing. And I just feel that I need to find out how and what is missing out of my life. Now, that is where you have to basically start from in terms of growing as a spiritual being. Because then you might start thinking, I'm going to look at life differently. And I think if I do a bit of meditation or something like that, then it might start give me the understanding to grow. If I get initiated in the Earth Center into traditional culture, then that might start give me the feeling. It might give me the values. It might give me the culture. It might give me the understanding. It might give me whatever I need so I can progress. And it's only when you start taking those steps then you realize that, the reality of life is each one of us need to spend a lot more time with ourselves to learn to know ourselves, who we are and what we are about, what life is for us. And it's only then your spiritual journey actually started. Because the saying is, even when you can see, feel, hear, communicating with spirit, your spiritual journey is just beginning. But a lot of people seem to think that I have achieved something, I've reached to the top, I can talk to spirit, spirit can communicate with me, I can see spirit, I can feel spirit. That is not what your true development is about. It's about you growing your quality so you can fit in properly, to be in harmony with the divine. Because that is what we're trying to do, is to have the divine aspects of ourselves manifest in us so we can realize the importance of the journey that we call life.
Excellent, excellent.
So, Anthony, they talk about the chakras. It's like they're saying, like your intuition is connected to your sixth chakra. Have you got anything to say about that?
Well, one of the things that I find problem with chakras, and people teach about chakras all the time, is that once somebody is telling you about open your chakras using kundalini energy or whatever energy that they tell you to open them, they tell you the colors of the chakras and how to bring the energy up from the base chakra right to the crown, and how to close them back down. But one of the things is, now, if your perception is not right, if you can't see and if you can't feel, then you just have to take what somebody else is telling you. It doesn't really mean that what that person is telling you is correct. So until you reach a certain level, I wouldn't even bother. I've teach for over, I would say, for about at least 25 years I've been teaching spirituality. And I've been doing it without chakras. Because I realize it, unless a person is more advanced, and you only get to the stage where you can see, feel, that's when we can talk about things like chakras. Before that, I wouldn't even bother with it. And it's not really an African thing anyway. It's more an Eastern thing.
Okay.
And so because because it's the dog and the bone scenario, we have already something that our ancestors set us on a goal with an aim, and we throw it away and going after the bone. Right, the dog and the bone scenario, where the dog was going across the bridge and he see that look in this river and he see that there's a dog in the river with a bigger bone. And he throw his bone and try to get the other bone from the other dog. That is what we're doing. We have everything that we need. No human being has come to the earth that has come incomplete. We come complete with all the goals, value, all the rules, everything that they are inside of us already. All we need is to find a way of manifesting these things. And the only way we can manifest them properly is through our ancestors, through the divine, through all sorts of entities, deities, jingly, whatever you can think about, that is. And all the things that you can't think about also. Because a lot of things exist that we don't even begin to scrape the knowledge in terms of spirituality, in terms of knowing what really is and what really isn't. Is a very, very big journey. So the physicality of life is only a small part compared to the unphysicality of life. What we think we know is so small. What we think we understand is so small. What there is so big. And we just have to continue the journey of searching and seeking. And in one lifetime, we can only gather so much. It is not meant to be easy. It is not meant to be one lifetime. It was not meant to be just one person. It's meant to be generation upon generation of people who manifest, going towards what we call being a divinized human being.
We see a lot of people going out there, right, and they're getting reading done, and we know that there are a lot of charlatans out there, really kind of.
I can't hear you good.
No, we said we see a lot of people going out there, yeah, and they're getting readings done, yeah, and there are a lot of charlatans out there. How could someone know really if they go into someone that is genuine?
Because one of the good things being a human being is that if you are honest to yourself, you know when you have a wrong reading, because you feel it. You just feel that, the knowledge, the information that is come out of it. You talk about something fit like a glove. If somebody give you a reading and they tell you your grandmother's name is Sue, she was born 1900 or whatever, and our father's name was this or that, and those information are completely correct. Now you can see that you can have some form of believability in what a person says. But then you have to be careful, because sometimes people give you messages, but the sting is in the tail, because what is it that they're after in the long run? So that's where charlatan come in. And we talk about the concept of a good lie of 80% of truth in it.
Yeah.
A bad lie will only have 20% of truth in it, because they have to give you that believability, and they have to string you on. I used to have a big business that supplied candle and all spiritual stuff all over England many years ago, 30 years ago almost, 20 odd years. We have these people they call gypsy all over London, and they just rip people off. And it's mostly black people they rip off too, because we're so stupid. We always run into everybody else, but not run into ourselves to try and get. And sometimes when I used to deliver stuff to some of these people, the house would be full. Sometimes I had 20, 30 people, sometimes even more. and it's mostly black people. And I know these people was absolutely charlatan, but they used to rip off everybody. But I didn't care because I said they're stupid enough to go there. All I'm doing, they can't rip me off because I'm selling them product. And in the end, none of them ever ripped me off. But the thing is, so much black people got ripped off by these people. I know people who lose vast sum of money, like 25,000, and I'm talking 30 years ago almost. People paying people 30,000, and so people are so stupid. You know, one woman I know, and I know her for years, and she had a reading from a gypsy woman that told her that she's gonna lose her house, and she needs to bring her £5,000 to make sure her house is secure. Now she went and gave the woman 5,000 because she had a bit of money anyway, but no sense. She gave the woman 5,000, and then when she go home, after she gave the woman the money, she started think. She said, "Well, how can I lose my house? I don't owe no money on my house. My husband have a good pension. I have a good pension. How am I gonna?" She went back to look for the woman, the gypsy woman, as they normally do.
God.
You move on down, right? So it's we that is coming our own self because, again, when we talk about people who are charlatan, is that, again, with like most reading, if the person intend to rob you, then what they do, they don't really have a proper reading. What they do, they talk to you, and they have a way of spinning your word and make it come back to you.
Yeah.
So when I do reading, I tell people I don't want to know your business. I don't want you to talk to me. Don't say not much to me. Because, especially a lot of women I know, they can't stop chatting. And especially when somebody is alone and live on their own, when they get somebody to chat to, they just want to talk. So they, I said, no, if you do that to me, then you won't know whether I'm any good or not.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to tell you, there will come a point when we can talk after that, when you can feel, when you can see that what I'm saying is true. So, you know, most of the time we get what we really deserve because we are fooling ourselves and we want something. Again, most of the things that people are reading about is money, emotional life, the man or the woman leave them and they want them back, and all them sort of craziness there. So therefore, when you go to somebody with those sort of situations, that person know that you are in a desperate state. And because they are in a desperate state, then they're going to use that to their advantage, you know?
Yeah.
If you come and see somebody like me and I know you are in a desperate state, I am frightened. I don't even want to charge you because I don't want to take on that what you have on top of me. You understand? So sometimes that is where I'm in conflict with myself, that I'm thinking, oh God, this woman is in such a bad state. Or this man. And I have to take money out of them. So sometimes, you know, I might not even charge people if I see the situation is that bad or that poor, you know. I just say, that to me is like, you know, it doesn't sit good with me doing that with people. I'm not saying that that is what everybody should do because everybody has to make a living. And everybody has their bills and things to pay. And one of the things about the society, you can't live without paying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, you know, but there has to be a balance. And you have to stop fooling yourself. And when something is come to a finish, when something is stopped, you have to know that it's not going to go no further. And you just have to leave it there. And just rely on your ancestors and the divine. And what is to be will be, what can't be will never be, and you just have to know that, you know, as I said before, nothing lasts forever.
Mm-hmm.
Everything comes to a point where it can't go on no further, whether through death sickness or just emotion, it come to a natural conclusion.
Also, I would add a pandemic.
Well, that is not a natural conclusion at all. That is you know,
A man-made conclusion.
it's not even so much a man-made conclusion because, again, you know, we see what's going on and we know that a lot of the things what they're saying. People, they even have made movie about everything that has happened now.
Already.
Already. So,
They did make it last year, by the way.
no, there's one that come out 2014.
Oh, okay. There was also
Right, where everything that the movie said, same lockdown, same everything happened the same way. So I don't know whether is what am I call it? Writers, movie makers are controlling the society or what? Because almost if you look at those sci-fi things, most of them things that they say is gonna happen is happening now.
And it's certainly not clairvoyance.
No, it's definitely not clairvoyance at all.
It's planned, isn't it? So it's like when they make their blueprint and they follow it through, it
No, you see,
make
we don't have a way of what we call misinformation is what. So every time they do something, they give you a little dose of it. So you understand. So when you actually come to the real dose, it's not surprising because the trend has already been set.
The brain has got used to it.
You understand? So as I said, nothing don't come from nothing. So that's why you have to keep abreast of what's going on and know that there is a lot of negative things going on the earth, and you have to understand that vent energy is really ruling the earth. And most human being is under the spell of vent, especially the ones with power and money. So you have to bear in mind that, and if we are a people who just continually chasing the goal of money and emotional entanglement, the high life, the sweet life, we have to realize that there's a cost to pay with that. And even if we don't pay that cost now, our children will pay that cost. So somebody's going to have to pay for it, whatever we are doing. So we have to be careful because as a human being, according to your own design, creation, or whatever, you can only walk and live life in a certain way on this earth. The moment you change from what you're supposed to do, what the goal that your ancestors set to you, then the earth will no longer want you to be here. And you have to go back home.
So, Hatani, could you sum up and give us your last parting words, please?
The passing word is that for every individual on this earth, what I would like to say to you is this: stop living a material life. Try and live a simplistic life, a life of balance, peace, joy, harmony, where each one of us can uplift one another. Each one of us have a goal and an aim and an intention, not just for ourselves, but for all of humanity, so that we can grow to realize that we are all connected and everything is interconnected one way or the other. That there is a peace that is within each one of us, and that is the goal, to find that inner peace, to be at one, at ease with yourself. Because it's only when you are at ease with yourself you can have that. Stop thinking that you can be something that you are not. Stop hating yourself for who you are or what you are about to do. Try and change what you're about to do and look in life about harmony and balance. Every day, the sun shines for each one of us. Every day, no matter where we are, if we have control of our faculty and have the understanding that where our strength cometh from, then we will not be lost. We can never lose because everything on the earth is created by the earth for every human being. It is not created for one set of people. It is created for everybody. But through the greed and the negative nature of human being, that we feel that we are superior and we should have everything. And then we realize sooner or later we will have disease, we will sick, and we will die. And whatever we collect and think is good and great, we can't take it with us.
Mm-hmm.
It just becomes a stumbling block in our life.
Yeah.
If we really want to be the children of the gods, if we really want to be a part of earth, if we really want to be our brother's keeper, then we have to have true harmony, true balance within ourselves and enjoy the simplicity of life.
Beautiful.
Yeah, what more can we add on to that? I don't think so, somehow. Yeah.
Dua hatane, dua.
Dua,
Nete
Yeah.
dua.
Yes.
the dua, Iru,
Iriru and
Iriru.
Iriru. That was our Atani Bouabti Fahkara, and he's giving us very sort of insightful information, really, like on clairvoyance. More so, it's about connecting back with yourself, connecting back with your ancestors, to the divine, and being truthful to yourself. And by doing so, then all the things that you aspire to, that you want into your life, those doors will be opened up to you. So it's about you looking inwards into yourself and making that connection back to yourself, really. Because we are our ancestors, and our ancestors are us. And they're continually speaking to us, so... Yeah, we just got some information. You're going to read it?
Yeah. Okay, before I do that, I'm just going to read, sum up with an extract from Master Naba from the Philosophy Podium. Life is not a combat, since there is no presumed enemy. The other, in spite of his absurdities, is also looking for the same peace in the soul. And on the present stage of our evolution, if life is a combat, it is a combat within ourselves, in order to find the enemy inside ourselves. Mm-hmm. The enemy that inhabits us and forbids us to celebrate an already perfect harmony with others. Nebnabala Musa Maradenabig from the Philosophy Podium. So I'm going to just tell you a couple of things that's happening this week. On Saturday, the 6th of February, there is the round table discussion, Your Body, Your Temple. And this is going to be on YouTube at 5 p.m. GMT on Saturday. So if you go to the Earth Centre UK page, Facebook page, you will find the registration link in order to book yourself onto that discussion. And then on Friday, we have the fourth talk in the 4-week discussion that we've been having at the London school, and so I'm just trying to find that. And this Friday is the title of the topic this week. This Friday on the 5th of February is how to strengthen, no it isn't. How do we move forward in 2021 and beyond? So this is the series of talks entitled The Importance of Initiation Whilst the World is in Crisis. So this Friday on Zoom, how do we move forward in 2021 and beyond? And there again, you can go onto the Earth Centre UK Facebook page to register if you've not done so already, to receive the link.
And it's a free event.
Yes, yeah.
And the time.
7 p.m.
Wow.
Everything is on the Facebook page. If you follow us on Facebook, the Earth Centre UK, you'll find that there. And look out for the upcoming orientation and graduation day at the end of February. And contact details again for the London Temple is 0208 558 3678, and the Coventry Temple 024 7626 6859.
Do it for that, and yeah, we'll just play you this last Dennis Emmanuel Brown.
Together
Cracker, you get a free...
Yes. So that was Dennis Brown. As he said, people do not be misled. Think wise instead. So this is what we need to do to move forward in this time. So until next week, where Catasta and Jody will be in the seats. So we'll see you within the next 2 weeks. May the ancestors and divinities continue to guide and protect you all. So, Iriru, everyone.
That's pretty simple, nice.
Healers, leaders and preservers of Kemetic traditions. Just like Prophet Nabnaba, these children of the Earth Center and our network of healers are being educated in local schools in addition to their indigenous cultural practices and traditions. This comprehensive education both positions them to inherit the work of their forefathers and mothers and continues bridging the gap between traditional and modern societies. So go ahead, support, find out more about our campaigns and donate by going to www.theearthcenter.org. Thank you.
This song goes in the memory of the beloved Prophet Nebnabala Musa Marudinabig, the Dogon Prince, Mahir, the truth teller, Bisina Basa, which means I'll be appreciated after I'm gone. He's the man who overcome the devils with love. He's the man who speaks because he has something to say. The man of wisdom, the definition of humanity. Maheru, Maheru, Maheru. I'm from far away, I'm from far away, far away, from far away, West Africa, from far away, Prophet Naba, far away, La Musa, far away, Tenebik, far away, Prophet, from far away, Prophet Naba, far away, Maher, from far away, from far away, Prophet, far away. He's the man of wisdom. He's the man who lived by faith, and not by fear. His greatest wealth is the richness of his soul. He's the man who lived by faith and not by fear. He's the double-edged sword. He's the double-edged sword. He's the key to unlock the treachery. Follow truth and you shall find him. He's the definition of humanity. He's the beginning and the end. He's the prophet Naba. Far away, from far away, far away, from far away, West Africa, from far away, Prophet Naba, far away, La Musa, far away, Tenebik, far away, Prophet, from far away, Prophet Naba, far away, Maher, from far away, from far away, Prophet, far away. Bob Marley says, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Have no fear for atomic energy, 'cause none of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophet while we stand aside and look? Some say it's just a part of it. We gotta fulfill the book. Come to Maheru, 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 come. He got your untold story. I'm from far away, I'm from far away.